It's all useless. Oh damn, Battler. Battler to the rescue. It's gonna be like, you fucking wrong, bitch. I'm gonna teach you what truth is here. Huh? Battler-kun? Did you say something? Yeah, it's useless. It's all useless. Just as everyone was about to leave the room, Battler stood alone with his back to them, still looking down at Jessica's corpse. What do you mean it's all useless? Do you have some objection? I agree that we've got to stay on our guards, but sorry, I'm not buying all that about Kanon-kun being a culprit. Oh, so you're speaking up at a time like this? If Kanon wasn't the culprit and it wasn't my doing, how do you explain this closed room that Jessica's room has become? To be honest, I don't even have a clue on that point. Seriously, why did I have to go and say it's all useless? Guess I'd better take responsibility for my own words. I'm empty-handed with zero weapons to argue with, but I'm not gonna sit around on the sidelines anymore, Beatrice. Battler-sama? Is there some proof that Kanon-kun isn't the culprit? The expression that rose to those two faces was definitely one of anticipation. They didn't want to believe that Kanon was the culprit. They really believed in Kanon, so they were expectant because they wanted me to strengthen their belief in him even more. And Battler-kun, which of the other servants do you suspect? Goda-san? Or is it Kumasawa-san? Quit it, Aunt Rosa. I know the person called Kumasawa Bachan well. She'll sometimes slack out while on the job, but she always makes things fun for people. Even if her eyes were dazzled by money, she isn't the kind of person who'd kill for it. Battler-sama. Not sure if that was a compliment or not. And I just met Goda-san yesterday. Honestly, I still don't really understand him. Sometimes he's a douche, and sometimes I actually like him. But there's something I do understand. I've never seen anyone who cooks as happily as he does. He's the same as Kumasawa Bachan. Goda-san likes to make people happy. As if a person like that could kill those who praised his own food as delicious, even if money was piled up in front of him. Then who do you think killed Jessica-chan, Battler-kun? Who do you think shut Jessica up in a room that could only be locked by a master key? Wait. Before I argue about that, there's something I want to make clear. I don't want to talk about if so-and-so is not the culprit, then so-and-so must be the culprit. I just want to talk about how it's completely impossible for Kanon-kun to be guilty. You say you can prove that Kanon isn't the culprit? How? It's usually actually simple, and it's something I almost overlooked. Beato. Repeat it. If you can say it, try saying it. Kanon-kun had a master key on him. Kanon-kun doesn't have a master key on him? How could you possibly know that? A short while ago, I heard from Goda-san about what happened. About how Jessica went to raid the VIP room. Right before she and Kanon-kun went off on their own. Goda-san, you did a good job remembering it. You protected Kanon's honor. I did? I heard him say the same thing, but I don't really understand. Could you explain it, Battler-kun? I like this back and forth between both, like, dimensions or whatever it is. That's right. When Jessica unlocked the VIP room, she borrowed... Damn, I completely forgot. That did happen. Damn it. Yeah. When Jessica unlocked the VIP room, she borrowed the key from Kanon, but she didn't give it back. So Kanon-kun doesn't have a master key on him. But that would also explain how somebody could lock the door then. That doesn't make it a closed room anymore. Because that means there was Jessica's key in Jessica's room, and Jessica still had the master key on her. So whoever killed her could just take the master key while leaving her own key in there and lock it from outside. Bam, there you go. Is that really so? True, Goda has no recollection of the master key being returned to Kanon, or she might have returned it when Goda wasn't looking. How does that prove that it definitely didn't happen? If you could just search the pocket of Kanon's corpse, you'd be able to say for sure, but you can't. It's impossible to prove. Yeah, I know I have to wait, and things will be answered eventually, but I like to theorize like that. I think it's part of the fun of the game. It's all useless. It's actually pretty simple, isn't it? No way. So you're saying that's why Kanon-kun didn't have a key on him? Yeah. And to prove it, all you have to do is search Jessica. Kanonkun's master key should be in Jessica's pocket. Dr. Nunja, would you check for us?
Indeed.
Nunja dashed up to Jessica and searched in her jacket's pocket. Everyone was expectant. Please, be there.
Here it is. Is this it?
Okay, but then I have to take back what I said about how to explain the closed room. Because if it's still there, then I don't know. Damn it.
Yes, that is a master key, without a doubt.
At Genji's statement, there was a small oh of joyful voices. That's Kanonkun's master key. I'll say it again. Kanonkun doesn't have a master key on him, so there's no way he could have locked the door.
It certainly does appear that way. But Kanon was the last person to meet Jessica-chan. The fact that he's suspicious hasn't changed.
Let's give that stuff a rest.
Huh?
Fundamentally, humans are supposed to be creatures that trust each other. But because we live in a tough world, we learn how to be deeply suspicious, so we suspect everything. We're sad creatures. I won't deny that's our nature. But the one thing I won't let you do is reach conclusions without proof. If someone looks suspicious, that doesn't make them guilty, it makes them innocent. Of course the world is filled with wolves. I'm not saying you should callously believe everyone. But if you're going to conclude that someone's guilty, you'd better have some perfect evidence. Unless you do, don't go around accusing them based on speculation.
Huh? I was the one who brought up there's no smoke without fire. That was careless of me. I apologize.
Butler-sama. Wonderful reasoning, Butler-kun. Thank you too, Golda-san. Because of what you remember, Kanonkun's been cleared from suspicion.
No,
Uh-oh. Clap, clap, clap. It was the crisp sound of the witch applauding. Well done, well done. She's probably going to be like, now you've proven that it definitely was a closed room. Not a bad job. Crap. Did I fall for that bait piece just like you wanted? You magnificently proved that Kanon at least couldn't lock the door to this room. The servants should all have had master keys. With that as proof, Kanon was treated as the culprit, but you've at least managed to clear away that suspicion. In that case, how did the culprit who killed Jessica lock the door? So that's the problem we have now. I got drawn into exactly the flow you wanted.
I got you, didn't I? Furthermore, you said something outrageous about not doubting any of their other servants. Well, then I can't wait to see how you try to smooth that over.
Shut up. Let's start right away. You'll probably just deny it anyway, but first let's check the definition of this room as a closed room.
Very well. First, there are absolutely no types of hidden doors. This door is the only way in or out. The only way to lock this door is with Jessica's single key or the master keys, only one of which is held by each servant. It is on the second floor, but it's probably possible to enter or leave through the window.
Why is that not red?
However, the window is locked from the inside.
I can spin the chessboard around already. If I start by arguing about the door and the lock, I'll probably be stuck dancing on the palm of your hand.
Do as you like. Well then, what should you repeat? What should I repeat?
Repeat it. Kanon-kun was killed in this room.
Very well. Kanon was killed in this room.
Huh. Just got updated. That's funny. There's no corpse, and yet he's dead. The witch said so in red, so he definitely is dead, even though there's no corpse. Man, that face she's making.
But I erased his corpse with magic, right?
Again, repeat it. Kanon-kun's corpse is in this room.
I refuse.
Uh-huh, I see.
I can't repeat it, because I erased the corpse with magic.
Yeah, figures you wouldn't say that. There's gotta be a secret hidden in there somewhere. Damn, where's the mysterious point I've gotta find? Mysterious. Did they lock it without the master key? Or did they somehow kill those two while they were inside that room and it was locked? Or did they kill those two and then somehow escape? I hate to say it, but I'll have to cover up the moat first. Repeat it. The last time it was locked was due to a master key.
I also refuse that.
Huh. This refusing thing is really vague. I don't know if you refuse because it's impossible to repeat or whether you can repeat it and you're refusing on purpose.
Back when discussing the lock to the chapel, you completely turned the tables on me. When I have an advantage, there's no need to go out of my way to use red when it might be risky.
That's all it is. I guess that makes sense. Originally, the point of the red was to counter my strange theories.
Naturally, I'll use it in a way that works to my advantage. Now that I know I've got to worry about you twisting it around, I won't use it pointlessly. Well then, what move will you use next? I imagine a move placing suspicion on Goda or Kumasawa will be easiest, yes?
It feels like you're leading me by the nose and pisses me off. Stay quiet a bit, I'm thinking.
Of course, this door is the same as the chapel. When locked, it does not permit any form of entry. I'll say more, no trick could have the effect of locking the door from the outside without using a key.
The outside? You said the outside, so there's a trick possible from the inside? Damn you for always using red when I don't ask for it. Time to step back to square one. For now, I've just got to think. I'll lay out everything I know. First, there are two victims. Jessica and Kanon. Kanon-kun's corpse isn't here, but Beatrice admitted in red that Kanon-kun was killed. So even without a corpse, he's included as a victim. There are a few questionable points, and depending on which I focus on, my line of thought changes a lot. First, after the culprit committed murder in this room, how did they lock it? If we assume the culprit's someone with a master key, it is extremely simple, but I'd like to avoid that if I can, because I'd have to suspect Goda-san or Kumasawa-san or maybe even Shannon-chan or Genji-san. Genji-tan. Here, I noticed something. I was contradicting myself. I was strangling my own neck. I want to deny Beatrice no matter what. I want to erase the existence of that brutal, fickle, ridiculous witch, so I have to explain everything with humans, not magic. But that also means suspecting some human. I don't want to suspect anyone. Of course, if there's some clear proof, I'll have to believe that the person in question is the culprit, but until that happens, I don't want to suspect people. Am I just naive? Am I just a kid who doesn't want to have my feelings betrayed when those feelings tell me that this person at least could never commit murder? I want to deny that a witch did it, and I also want to deny that a human did it. I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
In the first place, the only victory condition in our game was whether or not you could deny my existence. Even though that alone put you at a disadvantage, you've increased the number of victory conditions all by yourself, making your own victory harder.
It's just as she says. If I just argue that someone with a master key did it, this closed room can be broken easily. However, the number of keys that can open this door is limited, and since it's clearly known who has them, using that argument means I'd be suspecting someone I know well. In fact, have I just been averting my eyes from the truth? Even while attacking that closed room trick in the chapel, which was exhilarating to destroy, I proposed that someone stole the key from Maria's handbag and returned it. If that theory is right, then the question becomes who could have stolen the key from her handbag. Maria's handbag was probably most unguarded while she slept. In that case, in addition to me, George Aniki and Jessica are also suspects. So George Aniki or Jessica is the culprit? Or maybe an accomplice? All of our parents have been killed, right? And yet one of us consented to that and assisted with the crime? We all lamented, mourned, shed tears together in the chapel, and yet one among us was lying?
That theory of yours about taking the key out of the handbag and putting it back cast a pronounced suspicion on the cousins, did it not? And despite that, you acted like you didn't even notice, announcing a theory like that so happily.
Damn it. That doesn't guarantee that one of the family or the servants is the culprit. If you snuck up on us while hiding in a cardboard box, for example... What is this, Metal Gear? While hiding in a cardboard box, for example, there's a good chance you could have slunk into our room when we were fast asleep and stolen the key, right? Solid Snake.
Perhaps that will do for that situation. By suspecting the guest, the 19th person, you won't have to suspect the others. In that case, how was Jessica's room locked? It's no trouble at all for me to open the lock with magic, but of course I don't have a master key. If you deny my magic, you also have to deny that I'm a suspect, correct? So in other words, that means suspecting one of the 18.
Oh yeah, thanks for the help. I've managed to sort things out a bit. My goal is to figure out how the 19th person, the human guest Beatrice, committed the crimes. If I do that, I won't have to suspect anyone.
If you can do that, foolish man, this wasn't a closed room from the beginning. After all, there are a total of 6 keys that can open it. and several people possess such keys. You can suspect any of them, suspect as much as you like. But you went to all the trouble of denying all of them, making it a closed room yourself. Understand? This is a closed room born from your mental contradiction. You and no one else sealed that door.
So you're trying to say that I've got two options. Accept that a witch opened it with magic, or accept that someone I know is the culprit. Damn, are you trying to fork the rook?
I just wanted to show you that moves such as this can exist as well.
So what will you do, Pseudo Mia Bella?
Isn't it actually simple? Don't you just have to make sacrifices to of that overly self-confident cook and the hag who wouldn't be a loss if she died?
Damn it, if I suspect Goda-san and Kumasawa-san, everything will be fine? It's useless. I can't think of Goda-san as the culprit, and I can't think of Kumasawa-san as the culprit, but I won't accept you, no matter what.
In that case, they'd have to enter the room without using magic or a master key, kill Jessica and Kanon, and even erase Kanon's corpse without using magic. How could it be done? How could it be done so that you can deny me while still not suspecting anyone else?
How indeed. I resign.
Huh?
Pelican, what did you say? I give up. I was able to prove that Kanon-kun couldn't have locked this door, but that doesn't mean I've managed to figure out who killed Jessica.
No, that's more than enough. For Kanon-kun's sake, thank you very much.
No need to thank me. After all, this means you're under suspicion too, Shannon-chan. And sorry, Aunt Rosa, it's not like I wanted to resist you. I don't want to die, and I want to find Dad and the rest's true enemy. Sorry for saying something that wasn't cooperative.
No, it's okay. I was also a little rash. Let's make up.
Well, let's make up right here in front of everyone. Good Lord.
As an aunt and nephew, we have to stay on good terms, right?
Aunt Rosa shifted the gun to one hand and held out her other. I reached out, and for the time being, we shook hands. Aunt Rosa's gaze was sharp. In order to deny the witch, she would sacrifice anyone. That's what her eyes told me. And me? I denied the witch, but I wasn't prepared to lose anything. I was probably the one who seemed to be fighting the most, and yet the one who was most separate from reality. Oh, did it say makeup? Maybe that was wishful thinking. What a thing to end the chapter on. With Jessica's death, it became certain why are there two that's? It became certain that the culprit was hiding somewhere nearby and that they'd come for our lives if they had a chance. According to Genji-san, I actually didn't pay attention, damn it. I should have. I was too busy imagining making out with Aunt Rosa. No, I wasn't. According to Genji-san, when tomorrow morning comes, the boat should arrive. The boat had a radio. We'd probably be... Anyway, okay. The boat had a radio. We'd probably be able to contact the police directly with that. All of us gathered in the parlor and decided to wait quietly until tomorrow. Yeah, because that worked out so well last time. Past midday, okay. I proposed that we should search throughout the mansion for clues about the culprit, but Aunt Rosa rejected that, saying that if we managed to corner the culprit or maybe provoke them, it might lead to a third murder. That was probably the right thing to do. If a bunch of amateurs like us investigated, there's no way we'd find anything. It would be wisest to focus on protecting ourselves without doing anything unnecessary and leave it to the police starting tomorrow. We'd been tense at the beginning, but other than Aunt Rosa, most of us had spent all morning watching TV and getting bored, so our sense of danger had faded considerably. When we thought about it, yes, 6 adults certainly had been killed together in the first murder, but that made it seem like some backhanded method like poison had been used. And for the second murder, we figured those two became sacrifices because they'd been unfortunately isolated from the rest of us. From this it was possible to imagine that the culprit wasn't a large number of adults, and that they wouldn't be capable of killing this large group gathered in the parlor all at once. Right now, in this parlor, there's George Aniki and me, Maria, Aunt Rosa, Genji-san, Goda-san, Shannon-san, Kumasawa-san, and then Dr. Nanjo for a total of 9 people. Furthermore, Aunt Rosa was even armed with a gun. Surely, with this many people staying in this room, they wouldn't be able to touch us easily. That feeling of security, along with the passage of time, allowed us to recover from the shock of that morning bit by bit. By the way, a lunchtime had just ended for us. However, it had been a canned food lunch, a far cry from the dinner last night that Goda-san had skillfully made for us. Aunt Rosa also suspected that poison may have been used in the first murder, so we probably couldn't deny the possibility that the culprit had snuck into the kitchen during all that confusion in the morning and mixed poison in with the ingredients there. I see. So that's why they ate canned food. Aunt Rosa gave orders to all of us saying that until the police came, we mustn't put anything into our mouth except safe things like canned food. As a cook, Goda-san must have felt very let down. Apparently eager to display his skill anyway, he said he at least wanted to grab some plates and arrange the canned food on them. At first, Aunt Rosa had been reluctant, examining each of one of the plates that were brought, but she hadn't been able to find anything to complain about, and Goda's chef's pig canned food lunch combo was born. Goda-san said something about taste being savored not just with the tongue, but with the eyes as well. I see, that's the same canned food we ate for breakfast, but it feels like something completely different.
Baylor, look, this is the wolves and sheep puzzle.
Oh, okay. I completely forgot about that. As I was sitting lazily on the sofa with no desire to watch TV, Maria came over, pulled a picture book out of her handbag and held it out to me. What's that book? Wolves and Sheep Puzzle? Let's see. Wolves and Sheep Puzzle. It was a phrase that Aunt Rosa had said this morning when we'd gone to call on Jessica. At the time I hadn't known what it meant, and right after that was that uproar when Jessica's corpse was found, so I'd forgotten about it completely. The book that Maria held out to me looked like a foreign picture book or something that had been translated. When I opened it, I realized that it was a book stuffed with riddles.
Oh, so you have a few wolves and a few sheep, okay? The puzzle is how you take them to the other side using one boat.
I've heard of games with rules like that. So this is a version of wolves and sheep. It was a very simple puzzle, passed on from long ago. Let's try posing a question. On the right bank, there are 2 wolves and 2 sheep. There's a boat that as many as 2 animals can ride on, and using it you have to move all 4 of them to the opposite left bank. That's the puzzle. There are 2 rules. The first is regarding the boat. Even a single wolf or a single sheep can paddle it, but it can only hold 2 animals. The second rule is regarding the wolves. When they are greater in number than the sheep in any location, they attack the sheep and it's game over. For example, at the start of the game, let's say the 2 sheep get in the boat and go to the other side. Then 1 sheep gets off and the other goes back to the first bank. When it does, there are 2 wolves in the first bank and a single sheep returns there. When that happens, the number of wolves is greater, thus the sheep is attacked and it's game over. On either bank or even the boat, there must never be more wolves than sheep, and you've got to shuttle them all across under these conditions. By the way, the right answer is to move both wolves to the opposite bank in the first turn. Then 1 wolf comes back. On the second turn, you move 2 sheep to the opposite bank. Then 1 wolf comes back. Then on the third turn, you put that last wolf that was on the right bank on the boat and cross to the opposite bank, and congratulations, transport successful. Partway, there may be the same number of wolves and sheep in the boat or on either side, but that isn't a problem. You only lose when the number of wolves is greater. This book uses wolves and sheep as an example, but lots of people probably know this game using different characters. It looked like Maria wanted to test whether I too could solve the puzzles she knew how to solve, and she kept showing me different pages saying, so this one and this one's hard. So what was happening when Aunt Rosa first mentioned this puzzle? That's right. When we decided to go and get Jessica, we talked about how many men should go, and Aunt Rosa mentioned the wolves and sheep puzzle, saying we should all go together. Wait a sec. It can only mean one thing. Aunt Rosa was saying that there was a wolf among us. So was she thinking that we'd be safe if the number of wolves and sheep was in balance, but that the wolves would bare their fangs if the situation changed? Yeah, I mean, I figure that was what she meant, and that was why she always wants to stay together. If only one of the people present actually is the culprit, they cannot make a move when all the other people are not the culprit and they're all together. At the time we found our parents' corpses, Aunt Rosa already suspected that the servants might be wolves. She'd sniffed out the possibility that, while she didn't know whether it was all of them or some of them, there were wolves hiding among them. That's no surprise. The murder scene was very elaborate. It's easy to imagine that there were multiple culprits. And because she'd reached that conclusion, when we went to Jessica's room and learned that Jessica had been killed after being alone with the servant, Canon, it isn't hard to imagine why Aunt Rosa suspected the servants so persistently. You servants, Gora-san is going to the kitchen to clean the dishes. Just in case, would you please all go with him? Uh-oh. My apologies, everyone. Let us go as a group. Shannon, Kumasawa, we are going. Yes, coming. Ho, 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 ho. Well then, George-san, excuse me for now. Yes. Take care. Aunt Rosa, could I go as well? I'm sorry, but would you remain here, George-kun? There's something I want to talk to you about. Is that so? Sorry, Shannon. Anyway, take care. Don't be alone. Yes. What if they need to go to the toilet, though? It's gonna be awkward. I'm sorry, Dr. Nanjo. I wanted to consult you about something. Yes, what could that be? The servants put the dishes in empty cans on the serving cart and started to head out into the corridor. Behind them, Aunt Rosa was talking to Dr. Nanjo about something in a small voice. Understood. I will go. Yes, I'm counting on you. Dr. Nanjo closed the book he had been reading, rose from the sofa, and followed after the servants. So, I'm still waiting for 5 people to leave and be alone. Wouldn't that be now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have that situation now. Aunt Rosa stuck her head out into the hallway, and after seeing that they were completely out of sight, she closed the door and spoke. Listen up, everyone. With that, everyone here is an Ushiromiya. Huh? Yes, that's true. So you're saying that you've chased out all of the wolves, Aunt Rosa? With that one sentence, Aunt Rosa's gaze grew sharp. Apparently, she had picked up on the sarcasm. I think Bella said this. She laughed lightly. Your mind sure works fast, Bella-kun. I like clever kids. What do you mean his mind works fast? You said that like an hour ago and I would have figured it out immediately, and he just came up with it now. I would assume that when she said the whole thing about the wolf and sheep puzzle, everybody in the room except Battler probably already knew the puzzle and immediately understood what she meant, and he just understood it a few minutes ago, so I don't see why she says his mind works fast. But okay. It means there's less to explain. Well, Battler's smart. Yeah, I don't think he is. Oh, well. He seems to be smart in his discussions with Beatrice, I'll give him that. But he still sucks at English. Genius office, page 64 is hard. Oh. Maria, go away. Watch TV for a bit. Mama wants to talk with Batlakun and George-kun. Aunt Rosa, I heard about the puzzle from Batlakun. I don't think it's wrong to be on our guards, but I also think there's such a thing as being too suspicious. Okay, he said he heard about the puzzle from Battler, so maybe the rest did not know it after all. Whether the real culprit is Beatrice or not, there is reason for us to suspect that the servants are in on it. In the first murder, when Nissan and the others were killed, they were treated very brutally, right? Did that look like something that could have been done alone? Maybe the mystery guest Beatrice somehow worked all night and did it all. And what about the master key and the door to Jessica's room? Isn't that proof that one of the servants was involved? Only the master key could have locked the door to Jessica's room, so we can only suppose that one of the servants did it. No, wait. Spin the chessboard around. That's strange, Aunt Rosa. After killing Jessica, why would the culprit go to all the trouble of locking the door? The fact that it was locked made it inevitable that the owners of the master keys would be suspected. True. Could have just not locked the door. There was no reason for them to go to all the trouble of locking the door. But that's right, it's just as Batlakun says. There was no need for them to go to all the trouble of making themselves look suspicious. Yes, that's an interesting thought. Of course, I also thought that. If that's the case, then the person who locked it wanted to cast suspicion on the servant and locked it without a master key.
But that's impossible, right?
That's right. If there existed some trick that could lock that door without a master key, that would make this a great disguise for casting doubt on the servants. If the culprit's goal was for us to isolate ourselves from the group so they could attack us one by one, this trick would also be effective at giving rise to paranoia. But there was no way to lock that door without using a master key. How can you be sure there's no way to lock the door without a master key? Isn't that a devil's proof, like Rudolf Nissan was talking about earlier? Maybe it was locked by some method we can't think of. Even if we can't think of a way, we can't deny the possibility of some unknown trick being used. That's true too, I guess, so is that it? No smoke without fire again?
I don't know the practical details of the trick, but I have a general idea. My apologies, but if we make the assumption that Kanon-kun was the culprit, it can be explained extremely easily, even as to why there was no corpse.
Huh? But Kanon-kun didn't have a master key, right? Putting aside the other servants, at least Kanon-kun shouldn't have been able to lock the door. I see. So that's why you told us to search in the closet and everywhere else right after we entered Jessica's room. Aunt Rosa, your mind works faster than I would have guessed from how you normally act.
The brain speed of little sister is always the big sister's -1. Right now, there's no one I need to worry about offending, which is certainly a relief.
George Aniki realized he was referring to Aunt Eva, and seemed a little uncertain about how he should take that sarcasm. I'm sorry. Could you explain it so even I can understand? Kanon-kun's master key was in Jessica-chan's pocket, closed up inside a closed room. After the door was locked, it should have been impossible to put it in a pocket from outside the room, no matter what trick he used. That's not it, Aniki. If it was done the way Aunt Rosa's thinking of, this trick could only be used by Kanon-kun. Plus, the door could be locked without using a key, while the master key was still in Jessica's pocket. And it would also result in his corpse disappearing.
How? How could he lock the door without a key? It's simple. George-kun, when you return home, you lock the door, right? You twist the knob, click, and you're done, right?
Huh?
Could it be? No, but Kanon-kun was nowhere to be found.
It looks like you've got it, Aniki. That's what Aunt Rosa was searching the room for. She was searching for Kanon-kun, who had locked the door from the inside and stuck the key in Jessica's pocket before hiding somewhere, waiting for us to walk right past him. It was the simplest kind of closed room trick. It meant him hiding inside the closed room after the murder was committed. Then all he had to do was get out after those who discovered the body left, and the closed room murder would work perfectly.
When we searched that room, we didn't find anything, but for all we know, that room might have had a hidden passage that only the servants know about. We don't know where such a thing might have been hidden, but if we assume there was such a passage, we can conclude that it was impossible for everyone but him.
Well, about that line of reasoning, I thought of that too at the very beginning. It's the kind of reasoning I hate most, so I wanted to destroy it right at the start.
Kanon was killed in this room, right? You apparently suspected that Kanon was the culprit, so you made me repeat this to destroy that possibility right off the bat. Yes, I understand.
So this is what I thought next. I made a theory where there were actually 3 people in that room. Jessica and Kanon-kun were victims, and the culprit, the guest Beatrice, was also there with them.
You wanted to make it the human me who committed the crime without using magic. I see, a bizarre theory that suits you perfectly.
I guessed that you killed those 2, then locked the door from the inside, and that you carried Kanon-kun's corpse away using some secret method that normal people wouldn't notice. In other words, you used a secret door to escape, but you told me it in red. You said no kind of hidden door existed in that room.
Indeed, there can exist no secret passages that you all are not aware of. Was it Knox who said it, or was it Van Dyne?
Knox is the guy who made these, was it 10 Commandments or something for mystery novel writing?
It seems that in mystery novels there must never be hidden passages.
Learned that from Zero Escape, by the way.
I simply followed that etiquette. So even without having to thoroughly search the room, a famous detective could conclude that no secret passages exist. Humans playing detective have it so easy.
Damn, you're talking so big. Thanks. Thanks to the mighty witch being so diplomatic, I get to conclude that the room has no hidden doors without searching the whole thing.
Indeed, there are no hidden doors in this room. There's no way to get in or out other than the door and the windows.
Which means that the theory Aunt Rosa's so confident in is wrong. Also, annoyingly, it's impossible to disprove her theory. If you, the witch, say there are no hidden doors in red, then it's settled. However, no matter how much a human like me tries to argue against her, and Aunt Rosa probably won't accept it. Humans cannot prove there's no hidden door. It's the devil's proof. Damn, it sure is convenient being a witch.
No way. To call Conankin the culprit because of a hidden door we don't even know exists. I can't accept that. If you can't accept it, then find me a different theory that's more convincing. There is none. I've been thinking this whole time. There's no other option. George-kun, you and Shannon-chan are close, right?
Yeah, you can say that again.
I imagine that's why you find it so hard to accept that all the servants are culprits. Even I don't want to believe that Shannon-chan is in league with a culprit, but whether they are all in it together or not, there's definitely a culprit or maybe an accomplice in that group. That point alone is something you absolutely need to understand.
Fucking itchy nose here. If you guessed that there were wolves beside Kanon-kun, does that mean the uproar you caused by accusing Kanon-kun in Jessica's room was to gouge the reactions of the other servants?
Yes, that's right. And as a result, I began to suspect them even more. There certainly is a wolf among the servants. Certainly. And just like in the wolves and sheep puzzle, while they may be docile most of the time, they'll surely attack if they get the chance. Jessica-chan was a lone sheep on the boat. In Maria's version of the puzzle, they may not attack when there's an equal number of wolves and sheep, but our puzzle is different. Depending on the situation and the number of people, they'll attack even if there is a balance. Just like when Jessica-chan was killed.
But then there's something that makes me mad. If that's true, then when you made Shannon go to the kitchen, you put her in a dangerous situation, didn't you?
We should go to the kitchen right now, too. No matter who may or may not be a wolf, if staying together means we remain in balance, I think we should keep it that way.
They dead. Probably all dead already.
Shannon-chan went to see father along with Genji-san. At that time she was supposedly isolated, but she wasn't killed. Was it because Genji-san wasn't a wolf either? Wrong. It's because they were both wolves. Shannon isn't the kind of person who would take part in a crime. I can't let a comment like that slide, not even from you, Aunt Rosa. I demand that you take back what you just said.
He's saying this in front of Aniki, but the way you're arguing feels just like something Aunt Eva might say. It's like you're automatically assuming that you're right, unless we can counter your argument. Looks like you can't fight against your own blood after all, Aunt Rosa.
Even I can think of myself as very praiseworthy right now. But guess what? I'm a mother. I'd become even a demon to protect Maria's safety.
Well, then maybe you should stop slapping her in the fucking face.
I really wish I could shut myself away somewhere alone with her. But I also plan to act as a mother to you two. Right now, you're practically my children. Even if you aren't my own, I won't forsake you. No matter what.
Well, thanks for that.
I just wanted to warn you not to be careless. As your mother, stay where I can see you at all times. I will protect you.
And at the same time, you'll be observing us to make sure we aren't wolves. Yeah, thanks a lot for that. Can you, Aunt Rosa, prove that you aren't a wolf yourself?
Yes, I can.
That's a quick answer. How?
With this. This is my proof.
I mean, I guess she has a point. I suppose what she's trying to say now is if she was the wolf, like even if only she was the wolf, the numbers wouldn't matter either way because she has a fucking gun. She could just shoot everybody. Aunt Rosa lifted her gun and pointed the barrel at me, but it was only for an instant. She immediately lowered the gun, laughing impishly. But to me, the time I spent staring down the barrel of that gun felt like an eternity, and something I probably don't want to experience again. How does that gun prove that you aren't the culprit, Aunt Rosa?
Think about it. What if I were the culprit? Would I really give up the once-in-a-lifetime chance I got when the servants left? I could just shoot you, bang, and think of a fitting excuse later. Something like Beatrice appeared outside the window and started shooting at us. I just need to leave 2 empty cartridges on the ground and say I fired back at her twice.
Well, that's a crazily violent way to argue it, but it does make sense.
There's something Klaus Nissan used to say all the time long ago. Might is right. Maybe that really is true. I'm sorry, you two. I've somewhat lost my composure after all the crimes since this morning. You know how I normally am, so I must seem desperate and a bit short-tempered right now.
No, not at all.
But please understand, I want to protect you from a malicious culprit. I will become a demon to do that. That's all there is to it. I'm sorry for saying something that's angered you. Betler-kun, George-kun, let's make up.
Yeah, make up. I know, not make out. In my mind, I'm always going to read make out now. An unsatisfied expression rose to George Aniki's face. He probably couldn't forgive the damage done to Shannon's honor. What about me? Several bits of circumstantial evidence hinted at the servants' participation. I didn't want to believe that one of them was the culprit or possibly colluding with the culprit, but in our current situation that was little more than wishful thinking. Whom should I believe? In the first place, who is the culprit? Are there accomplices? And if so, how many? It seems I've only been suspecting the people we know. I quickly forgot that 19th person, the guest, Beatrice, who arrived yesterday and boldly claimed to be the Golden Witch. In fact, I still haven't seen her face. I heard she greatly resembled the witch in that portrait, but since I haven't seen her directly, no matter how hard I try, it doesn't really feel to me like a 19th person is on this island. So I've been subconsciously hallucinating that the culprit is one of the 18.
Maybe it's Kyria and somebody else, and this time she got betrayed and murdered as well. Because she was the one who told them that she saw Beatrice.
Nah, that's too weird.
Damn it. Come on, Beatrice. If you're the bad guy, then act like the bad guy and show yourself, laughing in a high-pitched voice and mocking us. I mean, she's doing that plenty in a different dimension or something. Just like a bad guy in one of those dramas who, even when they're exposed as the culprit, aggressively says, "Where's your proof?" Yeah, like this.
Where's your proof?
Shut up, no more talking.